Well, we should probably get to the show. Let's talk Tridactyls. I got mics on. I got cameras on? Let's see. 1 second. Greetings and salutations. All the three-fingered signs. Winter solstice. So I hope you're with the woo. I am the Wizard of Woo, your neighborhood xenoanthropologist. Hello. Welcome to the Constant Companion Theory at Tridactyls. Hopefully this is being recorded for posterity's sake. So if you're listening live, thanks for coming. If you're listening dead, more power to you. Happy winter solstice. I hope to have some guests on this evening. I hope to talk to my associate, the ever out there Fat Jesus. I'd like to say he is someone who would keep me in balance, but no, he's not. He does cover the tech pretty well, mostly well, some minor issues. So he's going to be on tonight. We're probably going to talk more about some Hongshan pig dragons. Always. Real important part of the theory. I think there's a couple of just little symbols that are great for people following the constant companion theory. One of them, of course, is the cordiform face. Now, this is probably half the size of actually Josephina. And also, as I've pointed out, not wholly accurate there. Yeah, if you look at some of those scans, it looks to me, and not even just the scans, the outside of the skull, they have 2 occipital bumps. So I thought I'd introduce myself today for the first 15 minutes of the show. Then we should have Fat Jesus on for about 15 minutes. And he'll stay on when we bring in our next guest. And that is Todd from his recent Peruvian trip. He is a man on the streets. I feel like my xenoanthropology tendrils are spreading. We're getting people together. A team is forming, loose team. It's very loose. Very loose team. But you can see there's a lot of interested parties out there. And I think, at the very least, they recognize that here at the Constant Companion Theory that we are seeking truth. Justice in the American way? Maybe. So I do like to touch on some of the news. I'm really not your news guy. Your news guy is Cosmic is really good with the news. I've barely even touched upon the new bodies. I guess because I'm just always engrossed in studies of the specific biological traits or cultural connections, like our cave paintings. So, cave paintings have actually been a part of the Constant Companion Theory for some time. I don't talk about it a lot because it's out there. And that's definitely, if there's anywhere where I will agree that there's a bit of pareidolia involved, is probably the cave art and maybe the geologic erratics, maybe with those two. But you know what I say too, if there is pareidolia involved, then our ancestors may have thought so too, and who knows, maybe they enjoyed the pareidolia. So in the cave paintings, such as the lions of Chauvet, I hope I'm saying that right, it's French, cave, and I'm going to show that real quick here. Boy, I just realized what a terrible time to get hungry. Anybody else hungry out there? I saw, what was it, Mound Lore? Is that what he's called on X? What a great, pretty. I mean, I think Mound really walks that line between. There's a little bit of speculation, but there's a lot of just legit archaeological drive. There's a couple people out there. I'm trying to, walk that line. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at this cave, but to me, you know, I kept seeing all of these cat depictions with these related to the tridactyls. So they do have that sort of benign cat-like face. So I know this is probably something that people are going to consider speculative, and maybe something I just took off of a theory I just took off of a bar, but not so, not so. We can look back to probably one of the best ones is the lion of, oh God, what's it called in Germany? The German lion humanoid figure. And of course, here in Florida, the Key Largo cat, humanoid cat figure. We see it in Sumer when the cat is clutched. And people use that statue to say a giant. I say it's a normal human. It's the cat that's the small size. I see. Let's see. Let's check our time here because I turned off my bottom feeder there. So we got 7 minutes. So I see we got Fat Jesus in the green room. By the way, the green room is Wednesdays on X's chats, 1 p.m. I try to come up with a completely different time slot than this Let's Talk Tridactyls. Let's Talk Tridactyls is, of course, this video show here. So these cats motif, look at the Egyptians too. Look at the way the Egyptians mummify those cats. They did not bury them like cats. You know, that's the other crazy thing I think about the crocodiles too. I think the crocodiles are meant to be viewed vertical or from above. If you've ever seen some of these pictures I've posted of the crocodiles from above, it looks like an elongated head. I think that's part of the fun. Pareidolia is part of the game, people. So I ended up isolating parts of this cave painting, and to me at times I felt like it looked like an x-ray or a scan I had said in the past. The creepy thing is now, after looking at the actual scans, I'm seeing some parallels. So I isolated some of these images, and they look like sort of frog beings, speckled frog beings. And I isolated this, what, a year and a half ago or something? And now seeing the scans, it's almost as though I was correct. So imagine that, if you will. Imagine if the cave paintings, specifically of Europe, Western Europe, which, by the way, if you look at the radiation of the cave paintings, just like if you look at the radiation of language, if you look at the radiation of the cave paintings, if you look at the radiation of the mound builders, it's an obvious radiation. It's an obvious spanning out. So, wow. Yeah, so let's look at some of these in isolation, if you will. So I'm going to keep this same cave painting up, right? But now I'm going to pull up one of my isolated images of it. And lucky for everyone, I have mostly organized myself. At least with this, I can just go to my Tridactyl cave paintings and pull it up. Let's see what happens. Does it show up where you want it to show up is the question, right? So it does not, but that's okay. We can bring it to you. We're going to have Fat Jesus coming on. He is in the waiting room. He's like just a couple minutes away here. I can't wait to hear from him. And then we're going to talk to a gentleman who's been to Peru. He is going to be our junior xenoanthropologist. I know people hate when I call the junior. I do that just to be petty. But let's get to that isolated piece of art, which I will put over here. So now I've isolated some of this images. And how strange what lies possibly within these cave paintings. Mind you, these are the same cave paintings, the Lions of Chauvet. I tried not to get too creative and follow what I saw were like lines that were already there. How wild does that look? This one I have online. I have a side by side with Shuye's X-ray, and it looks like almost identical. This I can almost feel there's two faces possibly here, looking down and looking at you. Now, of course, this could be pareidolia, but again, a lot of it matches with what I'm seeing in the scans. So, and I got these images a while ago, so it's not like. Then again, I guess what the I could be influenced by this on the scans. We can go in all sorts of psychological mumbo jumbo, but I don't know if that counts as Occam's razor. If we just start analyzing everyone. We got 2 minutes here before we bring on Fat Jesus. Let's show some Hongshang artifacts. I hope we don't lose my green screen here. So I don't know if I've shown this one before. This is cool. This is one of these turtle shells. There's always these turtle motifs also. And I think the turtle and the kappa and kashiyapa, some of this may have to deal with specimen number 4, Victoria. Here's another Hongshang artifact I thought was interesting because it sort of demonstrates a forelimb first metamorphosis. Bit of a heart-shaped face there. And then this is a large Hongshang artifact here. All right. Those are always fun to show. Here, one more. This little curled larval form. So the Hongshang artifacts were definitely one of the first clues that I realized that they were depicting, some of them quite realistically, tridactyl larvae. The ancients were well aware of the metamorphosis of the tridactyls. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our friend, our compatriot who helped us very much at the last quest for ancient civilizations. His morale and energy was remembered by all. He's a gamer, streamer himself, very much interested in the unknown. And he's been doing some UFO hunting himself, but I really want to ask him what he thought of the quest for ancient civilizations. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Fat Jesus.
What? It's Fat Jesus Live! What's up, everybody? We're back.
Are you on helium? We're back.
Check out my little tridactyl head.
Hey.
Yeah, dug it up myself. No, I'm just kidding. I got this little special guy. Guess where? No other in that incredible place. If you guys showed up in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Can you stop with the chipmunk thing? Oh my God.
That
is like, it sounds like, and no offense to the trans community, but it sounds like you're like, I don't know, like you are transitioning right now.
Oh, really? How about that?
Oh my God. Oh, your voice is so deep. Listen to that voice.
Oh,
Listen to that man voice.
I must have hit a button by mistake. That's what.
Oh God.
That's so perfect.
That was fun. You didn't know that was on?
Yeah.
Now you're also sick too. Did you get sick on the trip?
No, not at all. I was perfectly fine. I mean, I gotta tell you, when you get up there in age, you get over, you like push yourself a lot more than you're used to. So we were doing 13-hour days, guys. Like We would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we won't go to bed until 12 o'clock at night. I don't know where we found the time to sleep. Like we had a booth demand. We didn't even expect the man a booth, right?
No, we did not. Right. So,
So
unfortunately, I did miss, and I even apologized to one of the guys. I did miss some of the speakers because once I had the booth, as you call it,
you became a
um,
speaker.
I became like I was in booth mode, and I know you have to dedicate yourself to that spot, or someone has to.
I know
You know,
everybody had a chance to grab like an apple, throw it at the booth, and knock you and dunk you in the water. And you were making fun of people's like, do you know what Tridactyls is, huh?
I think
You
you
look
were at
like
a different event.
Tridactyl. And people were throwing apple, and then they were missing every single time, man. No, I'm just
So
kidding.
I do want to ask you,
It wasn't that type of booth. It wasn't
what
that
did you
type of
think
booth.
of what did you think of the event as a whole?
Well, it was my first time being at a can we say UFO convention or a
No,
alien convention, or what was this?
no.
What was this
It's
convention about?
Quest for Ancient Civilizations.
I mean, I was just downgrading it down to an alien because it seems like everybody was there for, let's meet ET, I mean,
I don't know. I think they were looking
come
more.
on, I was hoping to find ET there,
We were the
come
close.
on.
We were the ET game, my friend. There was no one else there with that. We were the ET group. At that point.
Yeah, for sure. But I'll tell you what, man, it was exciting because I did not expect anybody to be like super serious or anything like that. I mean, when I went in there, I don't know what to expect. Did you? Like when you got there?
Well, I mean, I saw the guest speaker list, so it does sometimes touch upon some of that ancient alien stuff, some of it, but Graham Hancock just, I don't know if he actually talks about aliens, and then one guy on the roster was a kind of a skeptic, and then another guy
they all talked about it. They all talked about UFOs, the agenda that they have in Capitol Hill and all that stuff, and the ancient stuff, and I don't think they were, as per se, I don't think they were like harping on it at the convention, because I mean they were reading the room, like these are people for this kind of stuff, so they didn't want to get any negative advertising.
Let's talk about what you actually thought of the event, though. Like, what was your opinion of it?
Okay, so day one, what I thought about Scottsdale was freaking awesome, dude. How about those self-driving cars?
Yeah.
That was wild. If you guys had never experienced a self-driving car, when you land in Scottsdale, Arizona, it's like you just landed in a city of the future. It's
now I gotta ask, why
insane.
did you not take the tram to the airport?
Tram to the airport? What do you mean? Oh,
I was trying to tell you, take the Waymo to the Sky Cab, because that view, you were above the city, and then you realize you can see desert all around, like you were in a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Really? I didn't know that. I mean, I was so clueless about everything around me. My mentality was to get the point A to point B. Like I didn't want to get lost at all, because I was trying to meet with you most of all. Like I was like, did he get there before me? I know he got there before me, so I was trying to meet up with you the whole rest of the way, not stop and fandangle around and be a
well, yeah. So
tourist.
the train, I took the Waymo to the Sky Camp, and that made it like it just doubled on the futuristic of it all. Because
Did you video
now
everything?
but I did it live on TikTok, so I don't know if I have it. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, you have to video it. And
yeah,
then
there might
save
be.
it.
I don't know. There might be a part of it. I don't think so. Yeah, that's the problem. So that was intense because there's two doors opening. People are coming and going. There's a
Next stop, Terminal 3.
And yeah, it was very Blade Runner. And like when I came around a corner, there was this big, almost like a petroglyph of like an animal or something. Yeah, that's why I was like, you have to go to grab that image because I don't know if I quite got
We
that
didn't
image.
even get a chance to go to the museum. There was a museum
We
there
did
that
not get
had
to go to the museum, but I'll say this though.
petroglyphs and
Here's
stuff like
the
that.
thing. I saw a better museum out there than the one that you wanted to go to. The one that
Really?
you wanted to go to was a little bit closer, or the other one was a little bit farther, right? But the other one was way superior. It was a full Native American museum. Yours was just like some specific like site or something, man.
Yeah, it's a dug up site right next to the airport. An
Well,
actual
I don't know. We could have done that before airport thing.
underground site.
Did you make it to your plane or no?
You mean? Oh yeah. I made it to my plane. Everything, we made it on time and everything like that. But when it came to connecting flights, so they wanted to send me to Chicago, and I said, "So what's going on in Chicago?" And they said, "Sorry, there's a delay." I'm like, "No shit, there's a delay. It's minus 20 degrees up there. Everything is frozen." So I'm like, "Oh, well, let me switch your flight." I'm like, "That'll be nice." And then they switched my flight. So I went all the way to DC, and then the next thing you know, they delayed my flight in DC because I couldn't make it from one end of the airport to the other by walking, because they don't have if you go to Ronald Reagan Airport, there's no tram at Ronald Reagan Airport. So you're just flat out, you're stuck, unless you're freaking a track star with all your freaking equipment, from one end to the other. Now, American Airlines, and that's what I was flying, they're all on the same side of the whole airport. So to them, it's all the same side. So if I could just walk outside and walk back up, I would have made it quicker. But no, I had to make a whole complete U all the way around the whole airport like this, a whole U, and then make it to the other end to the U. And then I was late. I mean, they closed the door right when I was walking up, and then she looked at me like this. I'm like, what the fuck? I just stood there staring at the door. I said, F my life.
Thank you for the update on the travels, but let's get back to the quest. Who was your favorite speaker?
Oh my gosh, everybody, man, everybody. I tell you what, who I liked the most was the artist that played the flute. The frequencies of the flute was immaculate.
But then there was the gentleman too who had the didgeridoos, the dual wielding didgeridoos.
Yeah, that was entertaining. That was entertaining as well, bro. The music was on par.
There was a couple of missed moments. One, when we came in Friday night, we should have done Krampus night.
Well, they were talking about it. They didn't even know themselves. They kind of like they missed the point.
And the other thing was, I had brought my 20-sided dice. I forgot to invite everybody to play a game of impromptu D&D. But here, going back to the museum thing,
you could have brought your Krampus outfit because you didn't even bring a luggage with you.
I didn't bring luggage. I brought
could have
one
just
bag,
shoved it in there. Yeah.
And if I didn't have artifacts and brochures with me, it would have even been more enjoyable. On the way back, though, I was gifted books. So here I thought I was going to be light because I gave away 7. Was it? I think I gave away 7 Tridactyl heads.
Oh, yeah.
7. We brought the 7 back. Oh, nice. Fun stuff. Okay.
I love this thing. I love the Tridactyl head. I call him Louis.
Louis, huh?
This is Louis.
It's good to hear a new name added to the nomenclature.
I have to write it down on the bottom. If not, I'm gonna forget.
Oh Lord, yes you will.
Hey, I tell you what, man, that trip was so amazing, and we went in there as strangers, and we left out of there as family. Like everybody we didn't know, we all became family at the end of the whole 4 days that we were there, 4 nights, I guess.
There was a lot.
I missed them all.
There was a lot of bromance.
Yeah, Billy Carson and I, we hit it off and communicated with each other. not to cut you off, but I, I I didn't think much about Billy in the beginning because
Do you know there was three
I watch
people?
all his stuff.
There was three people I wasn't a huge fan of, admittedly, and Billy was one of them. And go ahead.
After I talk to Billy, yeah, I have to shake a person's hand first,
He reached
communicate
out and
with
shook
them.
my hand, which I thought was very nice. I mean, I should go visit him. He's 10 minutes away.
No kidding.
We live
I mean,
that close to each other.
Good luck in even seeing him because he's always traveling around. But
True.
the thing is that you don't know a person until you get to walk in their shoes, communicate with them, shake their hands,
Well, I think
and really get a feel
I
for
think there's
for
something
them.
to be said about this one-dimensional screen
Mhm.
that does not necessarily bring the whole human to the game.
Yeah,
So
you guys don't know me. You don't know me because I'm in this two-dimensional world. You only
Right.
watching this. You don't know my whole life back here. You've never met
So
me
yeah, so
before.
Billy, I wasn't a huge fan of admittedly before, but you know what? He ended up being the closing speaker of the whole weekend. And you know what? I think he did an outstanding job. You
did,
know, as
did.
being a rock and roll fan, you know, he was the Kiss. People are like, Kiss sucks. But if you've never been to a Kiss show, Kiss is explosions and
Yeah.
and so Billy, I thought, really brought it home, and I thought he was a great closing act. And so that was fun.
He was the reason why you didn't get a spot on the stage, by the way.
Oh, because all the slots were perfectly spaced
Yeah.
out at that point.
He wasn't even gonna show up. He wasn't even on the
Yeah,
docket.
but
We spoke
look,
to
the guy who did the
we spoke to
Atlanta
Robert.
speech, he was a fill-in. I could have taken that spot. And no offense to my Atlantis friend, but my slideshow is a bit more dynamic than this is a wall, this is a wall, and this is a wall.
I'm gonna be honest.
However,
with
I
you.
did say to him, I said to him, but he didn't appreciate it. I said, I have a similar problem. My similar problem is this is a larva, this is a larva, this is a larva. People are like, okay, whatever.
I gave you my honest opinion, and then you sat down and took a census of each person, and you communicated. Here's my slideshow. I want you to tell me how you feel about each of these slides, and
You know,
and
do
I
you remember-
appreciate that.
Was there a gentleman? Was he Latino or Mexican himself? He was like kind of tan with the little gray goatee you were talking to in the corner. He
Yeah.
came up, and when I started showing him the art, he stayed for my artifact presentation. At that point, he was like, in the artifacts, he's like, oh, I see it there. Oh, I see it there. He was noticing the fingers. So that was fun. So I enjoyed that because he was finding a connection.
I
right?
enjoyed that you had experts, other scientists coming up to your booth and
That's
communicating
true.
with you.
We had
And there
AI
was
experts, a DDS. Yeah, we had a lot of interesting people come up.
We also had another radiologist expert.
So
come
the
up and
interesting thing
communicate with
was
you.
we probably didn't have to buy the tickets. We just had to buy the table.
No, but we needed to buy the tickets so that we
Hey,
can
I
go
sat in
and
the front
find
row,
out.
and Will gave a shout out, so I appreciate that.
I mean, this is how you find out. I mean, and apparently you have to spend the money.
Hey, look, we
gain
got a
access.
message here. Let's. I'm gonna play this message up here real quick. All right,
Yeah, go for it.
you want to read it out loud?
Yeah, it's crazy that this information isn't being widely talked about. I think you should make very well done presentation with background music and video pictures. Tie in a mix of intelligence and wit. That is
Okay,
that
He's
is
got another
good.
one.
Yeah. I found when I do video presentation like that, it gets more attention. This information is paradigm shifting and more. Paradigm shifting and more. Need to know about reality. Thank you for your work.
Hey, ontologically shook one. Thanks for your comments. You're absolutely right, but people can definitely check out at Tridactyls at YouTube, and you'll see I do have some videos that are produced. You can also check out at Tridactyls on TikTok, where I put up a lot of little quick videos out there. And I've lectured twice so far live, and I hope to do that another live lecture that we film. And I think that's one of the best things too. why I like the live lectures is just what we were talking about, Jesus.
Is that the same guy that said the first message too?
Yeah.
Okay. I communicated out with my a good friend of mine, and he said that he went and looked at your website, and then he compared it with tridactyl.org, and he says he can help you with tridactyls.com.
Oh yeah, it's a totally different site, and it was always meant to be. And honestly, unfortunately, it's been left in limbo for probably about a year now. And so that is true, and that's one of the reasons why I focus on the social media. I just sort of do my best on X, and I use my website tridactyls.com to host my papers. So if anyone's interested in the biological work and actually the cultural work, I have 2 cultural papers up there, and they're not highly scientific papers, but this reminds me, Jesus, I've got my science paper up on ResearchGate. Is that what it's called? Yeah, ResearchGate. And I've gotten 200 reads there, and that is catching the eye of zoologists and biologists and people like that. So at least eyes are seeing it. That's always my goal. I don't, peer review would be great. I have attempted to submit to at least one science journal to my memory, and of course they did not accept it. It's who knows why. It could be a thousand reasons. I'm not.
Yeah, there's a million reasons. One of the reasons is that I've noticed that there is a bunch of people that have done remember when there was a big hype about tridactyls in the beginning, and then you had all these scientists rally around behind tridactyls, but ever since the Peruvian government grabbed the clone, not the clones, the fake dolls, the ones that they created fake from the real ones, and at the airport, and then all of a sudden they tested it. Of course they're going to be fake. Those were the fake ones, because the real ones were in a vault. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, everybody wants to jump ship. So the scientists don't want to be attached to that because it's all over Google now.
But what's happening now is, and one of the reasons, I don't know if people realize this about what I do, is that I understood that I need to get the information out there, and I was proud of the fact that I unveiled a lot of information. So I knew that I kind of had to run ahead of the pack, because what's happening now is larger influencers with hundreds of thousands of people are now jumping into the game. So Jesse Michaels, who's appeared on Joe Rogan, and Project Unity, who's appeared on Joe Rogan. And of course, Joe Rogan now, the Tridactyls are his new Bigfoot. And so I don't know if you remember, but if you watch a lot of Rogans, it doesn't matter who the guest is. I mean, it could be Steven Tyler or something, and Joe Rogan's be like, so what do you think of Bigfoot? So now the new thing is Tridactyl. So it doesn't matter who's the guest is on Joe. It's Tridactyls.
So this is towards Joe Rogan. If you're watching this right now or rewatching this and re-airing it, there is a thought that I'm going through, and we're 2 separate sides of the coin here. He's the serious scientist, so he doesn't really think what I think, and I think the other side. So what I start thinking about is that, and I take whatever information that he provides for me, and I'm thinking, okay, Bigfoot exists. If Tridactyls exist, then I'm gonna say, okay, there's a good possibility Bigfoot exists, and all these other beings exist, and maybe I don't need the proof for the other ones. But let's say if they all did exist millions of years ago, and Atlantis did exist, what if, and using anthropology, right? What if they all did live together in harmony in a city, and each one had a specific task? Bigfoot was the strength, Tridactyls were the brains and engineers, the other ones were doing something else. These are all different types of beings that were their genes were set up in a way where they were doing certain tasks to do something in the city. That's what I'm thinking. That's me hypothesizing, but there's a possibility.
I think you have definitely some there's definitely some parallels there, some associations. For one, well, I do want to say this, of course, that a lot of people suggest that I got into anthropology, archaeology because of Indiana Jones, but actually, I got into
Look at
anthropology.
me. I got the hat. I got everything on. I'm a little ahead of you on that part.
Yep, I got into anthropology because of Bigfoot, though. When I was a kid, I saw In Search of. And that's why I do this show 7 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, because 7 p.m. Eastern on Sundays was when In Search of was hosted by Leonard Nimoy.
Nice.
So,
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. So Bigfoot, the Patterson video that was shown on In Search of, years later I looked at it and I noted that when Patty's
Hey, let's do it. Let's do the rest in peace in the form of the V.
So do you know
There.
do you know that there's actually that live long and prosper is actually more of a goodbye?
Really? I mean, it is a tridactyl, right?
Yeah, that's why I use it. Because I'll tell you why I use it in a second, but there's actually, you're supposed to say something first as a Vulcan. And the first thing you're supposed to say is peace and long life.
Peace and long life.
And then you respond,
live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. So anyway, I use this because, yes, this is meant to replicate the letter Shin, which is a goddess letter. And so I suggest that this is a goddess hand that they're recreating. And so that Shin I've traced to also phonemes like she in China. So I've suggested that even that the pronouns of human language all throughout humanity is actually devised from the names of gods.
No idea is no new idea. Every idea that we ever have today comes from some idea throughout all of history. Everything that we think of in movies, TV shows, music is all derived from somewhere in everybody's cultures.
So if Spielberg did not have inside knowledge,
oh my gosh, that's one.
Let's. I don't know. I can't even. It's hard for me to even go forward with that because he worked with Hynek, so he had to have inside knowledge. But let's say he didn't.
I'm a big ET fan.
Are you an ET fan? I've always been.
Oh my gosh, I got it. You watching my video? I paid big bucks for this thing. This has some details in it, man.
Wow, beautiful, bro.
Yeah,
no, I haven't seen the video. I mean, yeah, he's the closest thing you can get to a tridactyl right now.
Oh,
now his feet.
It looks so alike.
のhis feet are tridactyl, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. No, I mean the hands are.
No, the feet.
The feet the feet are definitely look like birds' feet. Yeah,
they're tridactyl. They're three, right?
They're very thick. The hands are four. They have 4 fingers instead of just the 3. I wonder why they went with the 4.
We're supposed to have another guest, by the way, but I don't know. He hasn't showed up.
That's okay.
I sent them a link. Huh?
Maybe they missed out. Sometimes I miss your podcast too. So.
Well,
it's not your fault. No worries.
Okay.
True. We had people that brought their telescopes to the event too.
Yeah, but more than that, I want to hear what you did or what you were trying to do. I don't know what you accomplished.
Oh, you mean communicate with aliens?
Yeah,
okay,
which Cody of East 10 Productions wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah, he wasn't. Well, he's a Kentucky guy or Tennessee guy. So so Cody was telling me, and this is a shout out to Cody. Cody, he's a good friend of mine. I really, really enjoyed his company, and he was so much fun to talk to, by the way. And I really connected well.
Well, he killed it as the MC. Since we're talking about it,
yeah.
He really brought a face and a voice and a vibe to the whole event,
Yeah. So Cody was telling me that in his state, I asked him a question. So if your people in not your people, like, you know, but I'm not speaking about white people. I'm talking about people in Tennessee, your people living in Tennessee, the culture in Tennessee.
I'm not talking
Specifically,
about
because
people.
white people exist all over the world. That's the majority of the world. I mean, they populate the whole world, but there are different cultures within the white population. They're different from others. So, and not everybody's
That's
the
why
same.
when people try to paint a brush of just white,
Mhm.
people ask me, I had to like think about like, I don't really have a culture. I realized my culture is basically American Catholic. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, you're raised the way you're raised, but you're a world traveler. That's what you are. You like to. That's why you're inside anthropology. You're a scientist. So I mean, you can't do the work
Well,
that
that
you
and
do.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
See, the
Yeah.
thing was, when I was a kid, my mom said, "Oh, that's just fake," right? But then her aunts gifted
Couldn't
me
accept that.
her aunts, so my great aunts, right? They gifted me the set of the Time Life books. And those books included Early Man, Primates, Evolution. And when I opened those books and I saw like Australopithecines and Paranthropus robustus, I realized, holy crap, there really were Bigfoot-like creatures alive on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, like some people say, people look back at Earth, it was almost like Lord of the Rings. There were so many subspecies of the genus Homo that it must have been quite the time. How
Well, I
many
mean,
were the
dinosaurs.
others? How many were prey and how many were predators?
I mean, yeah. I mean, with all the things that you were looking at in the museum, all the dinosaur bones and the footprints, it's hard to not think about Bigfoot not existing. You know, it's kind of like, well, all this existed, why not Bigfoot? So it's kind of like you can't really say this doesn't exist
Right. And
if all
now,
of this existed.
well, not only that, but now we have Maria. And Maria, not only does she have human DNA, she has Han Chinese and Myanmar DNA, which, by the way, are hotbeds for dragon and Naga beliefs. Okay.
Like, wow, the Nagas.
And she has not just one, but two different chimpanzees.
Nagas are reptiles, by the way, if you're new to this.
Yeah, they call them snake people, but it's really much more than that, because when you read the Nilamata Purana, which is like a Kashmiri Mahabharata, you realize that they have a very rich background of multiple characters. On Wednesdays at 1 p.m., I read from the Nilamata Purana so we can investigate the Naga history together.
Oh my gosh, Indonesian people are so extensive.
But Maria has
extensive
two
in their
different
culture.
chimpanzee DNAs. So she has that elongated head. Patty, the Bigfoot, has an elongated head. So there is no reason to look. We have Maria and we have humans.
But the
What's to
scientists
say,
wait,
what's
but
to
the
say there's not
scientists say-
something in between still?
But the scientists will fight you and say, "Oh, because they flatten their heads with wooden planks or something."
Yeah, but
they're fighting you with it, you know?
No, but you can tell the difference. There are skulls where the structure is not the same. The sutures
You know, the
are-
only way to prove them wrong, if we take the DNA and clone it, and the baby is
But
born,
you can look at the skulls. We can
and
find
the, and the-
skulls.
and
In
the
fact,
skull, and the skull would be born.
let's give a
with it
shout out to
elongated.
Cody. Cody's going to be doing a show on this specifically.
Oh yeah, but I mean, we're not allowed.
Oh,
to
hey,
clone
Todd's
anything.
here. All right, hold up. I'm going to put you on mute here, and let's see if we can get another person in. You're muted.
Oh man, Fat Jesus. Come on, don't be like that.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go ahead and put Todd on full screen.
You know,
I think.
I wish I could have hung out in Scottsdale. That sounds like a great place. But I was in Peru at that time.
Oh, God forbid,
and getting-
huh?
I know, and just having to do the Peru tour, seeing all those sites. But I gotta say, I got closer and Maria. So I saw the Tridactyl Maria. And that was on November 27th, I believe, and it was amazing. So, it's one thing to look at the scans, to, see the pictures, but there's this element, you're disarmed when you're face to face with her or inches away, they're so detailed, right? Yeah, that's what I'd say right now. You guys are still here though, right?
Yeah, man, you got me captivated.
Okay, cool.
I have to mute Jesus or he'll just keep going. So
yeah, he is going.
I will bring him back though to ask some questions if he would like. So that's
of course.
Awesome. You went to Peru, and of course, it is a dramatic experience. I suggest that
I gotta plug Gaia. So I'm learning more and more. I'm learning more and more about the kind of the origin story and the people involved. I really recommend now to everybody. There is a docu-series. There's now 12 episodes, but it's done from archaeologist Terry Jamin and the perspective of the Inkari Institute. But they have a lot of video, expert witness statements, reaction shots on the day whenever a discovery is made. And you get to see a lot more of boots on the ground, how this story opened and the characters that are involved. Gaia happens to be a company that has been in this early on, and they've put a lot at stake, not including their reputation, but a lot of money. And they've built a relationship so that they have special access to bring groups of people to go see the Tridactyls. To my knowledge, they're not open to the public. You have to have granted access somehow. So, you could talk to people in the network of like Gonzalo Chavez, or you can maybe even just call the university in Gonzaga and Ica and talk to Dr. Zuniga, or you could talk to Joyce Mantilla and just try to get into that network and ask for, the opportunity to view them. But moreover, they're still looking for scientists and researchers to be involved in this study. I'm kind of alarmed at the fact that there is some oddities about some of the bodies, but overall, the issue is that upon scientific scrutiny, they look real. All of the experts, all of the scientists, doctors, surgeons, you name them, they come away with a report with data, and their claim is that they're authentic. And I could get into more detail about, like Wawita or some of the others, but just throwing it away as a hoax and saying, oh, it's not consistent here. It looks like it's been manipulated. And so then they want to just tag it and say, solved, it's a hoax. That doesn't solve anything that is the strangest and weirdest mystery of all. Where did they come from? And if they were crafted, how? Because up to scientific scrutiny, it doesn't make any sense.
Once again, Todd, you have me captivated. Thank you. I want to thank you again for just even appearing tonight. I know we've talked a couple times, and it's great that you went. Do you know, Jesus and I were inches away from going to Peru. I mean, like tickets were in carts and everything, and it didn't really happen, unfortunately. And we went to, we did the quest thing, of course, not the same, but,
yeah.
But I do have a goal out there. I am trying to put the word out there for my constant.
So I'm thinking of going back. I'm thinking of going back.
I'll go with you, and then it'll be more of an ease. I'm a big put. Jesus is like, you're a world traveler. I'm like, well, I've been to the Bahamas.
Peru is so nice.
I have
nice.
I have a dog, and so I don't like to leave the dog. So, but
well,
anyway.
If we can get you a dog sitter or something like that, yeah,
yes.
The more the merrier. I'm thinking of going again, maybe in the spring or early summer. But here's my take this time.
Okay.
I'm interested in the characters. So I could see more Tridactyls, of course, but there are people involved in this story that would be like getting closer to the origin and the provenance of the discovery, because there's a big piece missing here, and that's still that for over a decade, the Citadel story is the only origin story for the Tridactyls. So there's multiple people, all in the beginning, who found these, and their story was very clear that there is an underground and there's an entrance in Nazca or around Palpa that opens to a larger tunnel system and gallery where there's a citadel filled with
Hundreds of thousands of tridactyls.
And at first, you could think if you were in the early days of this and they brought out the tiny little body, the hand, and the head, right? They had those like three weird things. Very difficult to make heads or tails of anything. But over the last 10 years, there's been 3 more giant hands. There has been like 4 to 5 more of the Josephina types. And then hundreds of others were claimed to be already sold on the black market.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them, hundreds. And so there's basically a set of these things that are all unique, have different faces, different expressions, but their proportions and sizes are all, they're not the same in height, but all of their proportions are accurate. So like the artistry, if this was a forgery, even the scientists were saying,
I mean,
who's making the money off of this? Because nobody's making any money on this.
I mean, I'm going into my 3rd year of doing this. So I'm way past the, are these real or not? I got into this partially because of the cultural reference. I became personally involved after recognizing the bodies from petroglyphs in both Bella Coola, Canada, and in the Caribbean from the Taino people. I mean, obviously, and of course in Peru, right? The Paracas and the Nazca proper people, right? All those ceramics and fabrics are demonstrating tridactyl beings, some of them looking like playful first-person witness accounts saw them and depicted them. So,
I went into a museum that was just about textiles, and the museum had handmade replicas of ones that are in their private collection. They have hundreds of these tapestries all over.
Yeah.
And just walking through, I went, okay, show me where Nazca is. Show me where Paracas is. Show me these others. And they're obsessed. The Paracas and the Nazca peoples were obsessed with 3 fingers, 3 toes, and oval-shaped eyes. And to just say that it was
corniform faces, as I say, heart-shaped faces, right? That was
absolutely.
That was a big part of my constant companion theory. Was this corniform-shaped face? There's Jesus's, right? Was also associated with these petroglyphs that were related to mother goddess motifs, serpent motifs, water motifs. And then I always thought as a kid, like, why do we call that a heart, right? But then if you hold the tridactyl head this way, bump, 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 it sure does look a bit more like an actual human heart than that Valentine's Day shape. Hey, I'm going to have Fat Jesus come on here and read that.
Yeah, because I got a question. I got a question for Fat Jesus. If you remember E.T., can you remind us, can his head go up and down?
All right, we'll put Jesus on the air here, and I'm going to have him read that quote from one of our viewers also, if he doesn't mind. Here we are.
You did.
There you are, buddy.
Am I unmuted?
Thanks for being muted. So let Todd have the spotlight.
All right. Thank you so much. Buenos noches, everybody. Yo hablo español, and I would be a great asset to go on Peru because I know they'll be talking behind our backs. You know that?
I don't know if you could go undercover, though. I think they would catch on quick.
Yeah, I know, but they wouldn't be able to, charge us extra for anything. That's
so
for
do
sure.
me a favor. Read that quote for us.
Let me see. Ontologically, Shook One says, the fact that metal implants are fused into the bone and blood vessels are connected to the eggs proves it to me. That's what he says.
Nice. Okay, and then Todd had a question for you about E.T.
Yeah. So about the ET thing.
The head does go up.
The head can go up and down. If I remember looking at the scans of some of the Josephina types, at least one of them, their neck bones, their vertebrae go into the skull cavity. And I was thinking, you know, in the movie E.T., the only way for his head to go up and down is if some of those vertebrae could go into the skull cavity,
Well,
the cranial cavity. Yeah.
hypothesis
Really?
of when we were looking at the scans, and he has the MRI scans, and he went through all the MRI scans, and we were looking at the ribs, and the ribs were so contracted, we were hypothesizing that the ribs actually spread.
Yeah, so the
Instead
whole
of being
body
so
could
close.
probably do that.
So the
But-
whole body extends upward and downward, such the head also extends. So some people that actually see them alive today, they are small ones, and then they see these really long ones, and then you got the story of Slender Man, which is a very long,
Well,
like looking
but let's,
alien.
bring
Maybe
it
they're
back-
the same, maybe they're not.
let's bring it back to the biology, which it's suspected they have a tubular heart, which could indicate hydrostatic morphology. So the way they would extend that neck is by pumping blood into it. So not unlike male genitalia, which if they have hydrostatic morphology, that could even extend to perhaps even fingers and legs and toes. Who knows?
So for the layman's term, what is hydrostatic? Morphology?
Hydrostatic meaning liquid is used to, like a cephalopod, to make that. How else does that neck extend? Is it muscles? I mean, it could be, I suppose, but that's the, if they do have a tubular heart as suggested, and that heart, just so you guys know, runs theoretically, and this is of course on the little ones where I spend most of my time, between the vertebra and that what is that axial, I don't know what it is. I'm suspecting possibly a gonoduct or something. If that skull is connected to the cloaca, which I don't know if all the specimens show that, it could indicate a giant sexual duct, like an invertebrate parallel.
Now, my question to you, Todd, is when you went there and you visited and you saw these tridactyls, what were you thinking overall? Let's say, for instance, wherever we go around the world as human beings and we dig up artifacts, Egyptian, Syrian, anywhere, we usually find pottery. We find something that belongs to somebody that is personal to that person, that person died with their personal effects. And it's almost narcissistic, like, you know, like that's his necklace or her necklace, that's her baby, that's her dog, that's, you know, that's their cat. But when they find the tridactyls, they don't really see that the tridactyls take personal things with them to the afterlife, do they?
So Todd, did you see any related artifacts?
So when we were there, we had a nice presentation by Joyce Mantilla, the reporter, and he's been involved for many, many years and is familiar with all of them. So he gave us a great synopsis, a slideshow. But when we asked questions like, were any artifacts found? Did they have any tools? Did they have any clothing? His answer was no.
That wild,
Flat
Todd?
out. Flat
That's
out no.
wild. So that's
But I am aware-
a lot, though.
But I am aware of an exchange between Mario when he was providing additional bodies to the Inkari Institute for study. That he also, they were visited by a very wealthy investor who was interested in these metals that were described as being in the Citadel, and said, if you could bring examples of these metals, you know, I'll give you lots of money, but plus our company would be very interested in acquiring that because, geez, to a billionaire, a rare earth element or some alloy that hasn't been discovered yet, that could be their next business.
Yeah.
So Mario brought some more bodies to the Inkari Institute, as well as 4 interesting pieces and 2 metal pieces. Said that they were found alongside of the bodies, near one of the sarcophagi. So there are 4 bone plates, rounded on the edges, but they're squares. And on the faces of them are laminated metal symbols. And there were 4 of them. The investor bought them and took them, but he left one of each with the Inkari Institute. So the Inkari Institute has one of these bone plates that has a laminate symbol in metal on the front. And then there's a, like almost what do you call it? Like a Spanish cross. It's like a plus, almost like a plus sign piece of metal that is also, in their possession. So there was some objects that Mario, and this is the problem with the provenance.
There have been artifacts found that supposedly have been sold.
And more recently, they talk about stones and things like that. But the issue is provenance, and because Mario and the groups involved.
Tell everyone who Mario is, please.
Mario is a pseudonym created, by people that work with him. He's also known as Jose. He's also known as Del Chapo, but his name is Leandro, and he is a very famous tomb raider, also tour guide in Lake Titicaca. And he's been involved with this almost since the very beginning. He's not one of the first to break the story, so he didn't want to be involved. He's a businessman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And not only that, but helping the Inkari Institute.
Was the grave robber.
He is the grave robber, but he's not the one who first presented these to the public.
He's a rich grave robber.
No, there's another guy who I will love to just craft a nice story and share it with you, Ed, so that we can get to the bottom of that one, because it takes an interesting turn. So let's just say there's this guy named like Ricardo is what we'll call him. And Ricardo is the first to have the head, the hand, and then a little tiny body, like one of the smallest ones. I think it's like the size of a hand, but it has all these articulated details, like little fingers, the 3 little fingers, the whole face. But it ends up that he brings it to Thierry Jamin, the archaeologist, the French archaeologist. Then they start.
I don't think he is an archaeologist, though.
You can say that. So he claims he's an archaeologist. So, or investigative journalist, maybe. I'll have to figure that out.
I think he's a historian. He's a historian, and I almost call him an outfitter. I don't know. Does he charge for people to be with him?
I've never met him.
Okay.
Never met him. I haven't seen any of that.
Or he's just an explorer, I suppose. But I don't know.
It might be an explorer. So he gets these specimens and starts studying them, and that's where the story breaks first, is with those 3 items and this guy named like Ricardo. But immediately when the story breaks, Ricardo decides he's going to be an online streamer personality and creates a persona. It's kind of weird, kind of fringe, and then he starts giving lectures and rants about the end of the world and the signs of the apocalypse, and he just loses it, right? But then he doesn't stop. He continues just being awkward and weird online.
What the hell?
And so the Inkari Institute's like, wait a minute, we're spending lots of money and time and getting our reputations like basically hit. And now this guy's doing this. Like, what are we even going to do? Are we going to continue or not?
Oh, my God.
That's how it first started. It was rough. And I don't think it's gotten any better, because once the bigwigs like Jamie Moussan from Mexico, and when Gaia came in and the rest, that's when Mario brought Maria, right? Maria was the big reveal.
Sure.
And Gaia was there, the rest, and that's when they started cutting out other people that have been involved since the beginning. Oh. So Thierry Jamin and some other, I think, and it's very clear, Terry got feelings of betrayal.
Yeah, I was reading his book too. His book is pretty good, but
he needs to understand that he's an outsider. He's not a native Peruvian. Maybe if there's a TV show, they don't feel like he would be the best to be the first guy on there. And I think there's some egocentric issues.
Well, I think he's actually a perfect. I would cast him. I think he's perfect.
I think he's perfect too.
Aside from him not being a real archaeologist,
they started cutting him out of
I didn't know
media
that too.
Media appearances.
I would I mean, I guess call me petty also, but yeah, I can totally associate with that. I would hate.
So there was a hearing and he decided he wasn't going to show up just because they weren't treating him like an equal, and they were just
Yeah.
basically dismissing him, or he felt like the words relegated, just pushed to the back.
Oh, that sucks.
And that's
Okay,
after
so-
he's done.
So they have a history of this, so I'm not going to feel bad that they do not comment on many of my finds. I've gotten one official denial on the larva that they say that they don't understand it and they don't agree. So I have got that one, but as far as my parietal, pineal, third eye, no comment on that. Or Alberto's inner otic capsule, his ear capsule being moved to the outside of his skull, or the skull.
So there was a
being
lot of things.
dual chambered. So there's a lot of these things. So I'm just saying, I feel for theory totally, because I feel that some of my stuff is being what was the term he used? Regulated.
Relegated.
Relegated. Thank you.
Relegated. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to chime in and just or just keep sharing that the issues involved around this, people are having to spend a lot of time and money and research, and they're
Yes.
getting harassed. They're harassed the whole time
Yes.
that they're doing it.
Again,
But
I understand all of every word you just said. Yes,
It's
I'm
one of the-
spending
it's
money
one
and
of
I'm being
these-
harassed.
It's like this. It's like they shouldn't exist. Okay, and then you apply some scientific scrutiny, and you're like, shit, it shouldn't exist, but it exists.
Yeah.
So, and so for some people, they could look at the Wawita story or any part of the drama of the story, because whenever you get people involved, not everybody's professional, right? There's a lot of drama that's going on behind the scenes. They're in the middle of the scenes. There's lies. For example, Mario, that's, the guy we were talking about, the Tomb Raider. He loaned the bodies for study and he wanted them back. But then the Inkari Institute and others kept, coming up with stories of why they can't turn them over right now. And then they came up with, the government's going to get involved. And I think there was just
I used to
infighting
work for a
galore.
museum or two, and the drama that is involved. A lot of people don't realize that my dream job ended because the U.S. government confiscated our artifacts, and the building. The building. More important, the artifacts. The artifacts were loaned, as you said, so they weren't all confiscated.
Yeah.
But
Will
we
I be wrong? Will I be wrong to say that this is like $1 billion change? Like for everyone to realize that there's a missing link between humans and another being millions of years ago that existed on
Did you say
Earth?
$1 billion? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean around the world.
No, this is priceless. This is invaluable.
yeah, but
I
every
say-
museum.
That's what
around
we're
the
saying
world.
right now, but this could be like pre-Bitcoin. Like in the early days of Bitcoin,
Yes,
people didn't
of course. I
understand the
use
value
Bitcoin,
of it.
I use Bitcoin the exact same example because I say to people, I'm like, remember when you didn't listen to me about Bitcoin?
So there are people there.
I'm always like, some Tridactyls.
Yep. Now the Citadel and Mario, and by the way, he keeps finding stuff, right? So one of the issues is that over the last 10 years or more, there's just more developments. So there's just more of these specimens being discovered or coming to light.
Yeah,
And
we
there's
got
more
these
to
weird
come.
ones with tails and fangs and.
Yeah, so I got those videos. I sent them over to you, and there's more.
Can we look at one now? Can I-
Let me
can
see
I
if I can.
No, I can do it.
Oh yeah,
Todd,
You can.
can I ask you a question? Do you think that Peru is suffering from like a financial standpoint on the whole Tridactyls? That's why they want to hold off on it more so?
the Ministry of Culture is sort of like I would just say the organization that's anti-studying the Tridactyls. They'd like to see it buried and to go away. They don't want anything studying it. And they've
There you
even
have it.
Well, they
they've
got
even
the
come
wrong
so
guy here.
far. Yeah, they've come so far as to write, demand letters saying these fake mummies belong to the state, and they were clearly, ancient remains were used to fabricate these bodies, and they belong to us. So give them to us.
All right.
So it's
That's
so
our uphill
convoluted.
battle. That's our uphill battle here at tridactyls.com. We're fighting against the institutions, the governments, and Google about trying to spread the word out over on this end. And then the rest of the world is like, oh, no, they're not real.
All right, we're going to share this video. I don't think we'll get any audio. So Todd, you're welcome to talk over it. You guys ready?
Oh, there's audio. There's like heavy breathing, I think.
I don't know if it'll come across, but probably will. Let's see.
They're very thin. They have long limbs, elongated
Tell us,
heads.
what are we looking at here? Tell us, do we have a name for this one?
There's I don't have a name for this right now, but it is being studied online. There's somebody
This is
who
like
got
what,
one in
Yakuk and Soria or something? I'll have to, yeah, I don't recall.
That's a
so
new one?
there's x-rays of these types online. They're being studied, but if they come from Mario and they truly are from, you know, however he's either making these, having them made, or finding them, they should be, you know.
But you said you asked them
similar
if they
mysteries.
were made.
Of course we do. Of course we do, because they're so weird.
They're
Look
so
how weird
weird,
this
and
is.
I haven't really examined those yet, but I would like to say, for the interesting thing, if anyone gives any credit to my larva theory, when I looked at Wawita, although she is said to be manipulated, I suggest that she has larval forms within her also. And every time I think of this, I bring up the thing that Bob Lazar says, that the aliens consider us containers. And then Todd, you showed me something which I don't know what to compare to except for modern folklore, something called vril worms or something.
Yes.
So that was really weird. And you sent that to me also, so I can actually pull that up. I thought it was very strange because it seemed so close to home. And I always wonder with like people like David Icke and other people, like I came to all of this as a skeptic. And when I say these crazy, if they sound crazy to you, this is what I found through research only after being a skeptic. So I don't understand how some of these other people come to these conclusions, which seems so very close to what I found.
You know, as a scientist, do you have to feel like you've got to stay unbiased and just let the data speak? Or is there a moment, do you think, that you're forced to have to choose between a red pill and a blue pill?
For me, part of it is honestly, and people hate to hear it, there is a bit of instinct involved. And I think it comes from when you acquire enough data, you're able to make instinctual decisions with a informed mindset. So we're looking at this folk tale of something called a vril, and they say they have a proboscis, which is what I suggest I see in the larval scans. I'm seeing a high density tube-like structure coming from a predator larva to a other larva that is being dined upon. And those I'm assuming that is CGI or whatever, or special effects. Those special effects worms are not too far off from what I am actually seeing in the larva. I think I may have to get another artist involved, or maybe I do it myself, just so I can help people visualize.
We spoke to a radiologist over there at the event, by the way, and he was talking about the MRI, and the MRIs have certain ghost areas. He says a CBCT scan would have to be needed so he can pinpoint the areas to see better in detail if they are actual larvas. That way, to prove the point 100% that those are actual larvas. But what Professor Ed Gasso was talking about, he has such pushback over there in Peru about getting those scans done that it's so hard to get something tangible. Or
let's look at another video
forward.
here. We're moving into the other two. Thank you, Fat Jesus. Let's check this out. Because why not, right? Thank you again, Todd, for sending these videos over, so we were able to watch these.
So we spoke to the indigenous nation
Hold on,
over there.
let's let
They
Todd
talked
tell us
about
what we're.
the ant people. Remember?
Yeah, Todd, tell us what we're seeing here.
You're seeing tridactyl, what looks like tridactyls, different from the like Josephina types. These
Yeah, they
ones
have more
just
of a
they're way
stereanthropic
thinner.
head, but the spinal cord's tracking, and of course,
That a tail?
Tail.
the tail. What I've suggested is one of my discoveries is the Euro style, which will appear after that tail is resorbed.
Right. And so I'm not sure about these stones or eggs that are next to them. I don't understand that very much.
Questionable
But
eggs, but that would probably the proper biology. I don't think the eggs that we see, I've come to the conclusion, I don't think the eggs we see are supposed to be there. I think those eggs are supposed to travel through that center, what I'm calling a gonoduct, for lack of a better term, some sort of central reproductive system, and then obviously out through the cloaca. Where they are now, it's as though the hybridization, because it's been suggested, right, that Victoria is 3 to 6% primate, that what we're seeing with those eggs may be that point of hybridization where the body doesn't even know what to do with itself, and we have eggs in a womb, and perhaps that is part of our ovoviviparity problem.
all of these are so different in their morphology and body. They're just different types. I mean, you could even say they're different species because of just anatomically how different that they are. Now, the origin story about the citadel is that there's supposed to be several different sarcophagi and then shelves that have these stone flasks or bottles, and then these mortars that have powder or something in them, and then the handles on the mortars have alien heads on them.
Ooh.
That's part of the lore.
Exciting.
Now, what Mario was saying to people is that he believed, based off of his firsthand knowledge, that this was an ancient laboratory and these were experiments, and that's why they're so diverse and there's so many of them, many different kinds, I mean. But seeing the different specimens come out and they're all different, like there's no cookie cutter. Like if they had a machine or technique to create these for efficiency's sake and the level of detail that are on these, I mean, you'd have to come up with a process and then you'd see a pattern. They're all, if you get 4 hands and, 3 to 5 of the Josephina types, and you have Montserrat and Maria and Joyce, and you got all these others. And now these reptilian ones with tails, we're just finding a lot of variation.
Now it's become normal. It's normalized for us now. They're tridactyls. They got 3 fingers and 3 toes. And before it's like, whoa, we found 3 fingers, 3 toe tridactyls. And now it's so normalized. Now there's over 100 specimens. And we're already predicting there's probably over thousands of specimens down there for them to find.
There's nobody to stop. There's nobody to stop the tomb raiders. And in fact, the government has proven to also be involved. There's been government officials in Peru that have been caught selling ancient artifacts.
Well, there you go. That's probably a big part of the problem then, right?
Wow.
Huh.
I don't know if it is, because if the Peruvians themselves don't, I mean, this is my devil's, the devil's argument? Devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
If the Peruvian people aren't going to take it seriously and they just let it rot, then why not have interested parties come in and try and build a collection?
Yeah, I mean, I've suggested, and just knowing how museums work, that in the future, every museum is going to have their tridactyl exhibit. Whether it's a real tridactyl or not, it might be a replica, but that's going to occur. And when King Tut came to town here in Fort Lauderdale, they built an entire wing of the museum just to have the welcoming of King Tut. So can you imagine what the world will be like in the future of tridactyls and museum life, right?
It would be amazing to see, and hopefully more collectors will bring out to bear, their pieces. Like Montserrat, the really large one that's got the gold plate on the forehead, that was donated from a family where the collector passed away and they just didn't know what to do with it.
So a completely
Thank you for the family.
unrelated to the grave robbers.
Correct.
Wow, that's interesting. How exciting
Now
that is.
I'll
I
get
had
more
no
facts
idea.
around it.
So that means there's some, at least, background on that. Okay.
Yeah, even the first three that I told you about, like way back in 2016, this Ricardo guy had the big hand, and then he had a head, like a Josephina type head, and then he had a little tiny body. But he had purchased it off of the Tomb Raiders, or had gone with them, and was just so impressed by them that he brought it to the Inkari Institute. Now,
Gotcha.
if he had never done that, Terry
Right.
Jamin would not have been involved. This whole thing the story would be different. But that's how it happened. And then Terry Jamin and the Inkari Institute, they had to spend time and money looking. They had to do boots on the ground looking and an investigation to find Mario. And just that alone was an interesting.
I recommend everyone read his book, and I didn't realize it, but it's David Childress's printing company. What's the publication company that makes that book? So when we were at Quest, he had Terry's
David
book.
Hatcher Childress.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
He came over to our table, and I had David
his hand once.
Velasco F's book, the Message of Nazca, on my table for him to look at. But yeah, unfortunately, David actually wasn't very friendly at all. Like, as opposed to like Billy Carson, who totally like reached out.
We didn't
like,
fit
shook
his
our hands
bill.
and everything. This guy, David, wouldn't even make eye contact. He was very weird, very autistic or something.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't fit his agenda or his little square box,
he was
check
interested
it,
in like who
he
made
moved
the
on.
book and who. I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, it was interesting though. He was
Sorry
one
to
of the
talk
big
negative.
celebs. Hey guys, I think I am going to wrap this up, but I would love to have
But
Todd
Billy
and
Billy
Jesus back.
was a great guy, by the way. Billy was very interested in us and everything that we did.
So while you guys are here, I'm going to go ahead and check out my Tridactyl skull giveaway, if you don't mind, so you guys can be
Let's
a
do
part
it.
of that. So I'm going to open my roll 20. I don't know if anybody plays Dungeons and Dragons out there.
Yeah.
I always joke I would do a Tridactyl campaign, but I already did it. I had created this race of I had come up with this story that a serpent cult was kidnapping human children and creating hybrids between them, kobolds, goblins, and the thing called a sturge, which sucks blood. And for the party to go subterranean under the earth and combat Set in this giant campaign.
There's a little bit of nerdiness here.
So much nerdiness, but again, it's weird how much of that like relates to this whole Tridactyl thing, that it's just the world.
every cultural aspect of our lives are rooted from somewhere in all of history. So that's
Exactly.
something I wanted to bring it back around when he was mentioning how they don't have personable effects.
Personal items.
In anthropology, in cultural anthropology, when a society does not have personal effects, that speaks volumes about that species. Meaning they
don't
did.
know. But there was stuff involved. There was physical.
No,
stuff.
it was all on top of them. See, they don't carry things and put it on their side. They don't have things like
But
us.
there's
Like
pictures. There's pictures of at least one. I'm assuming it's a real creature. I don't know.
No.
Dressed
They
in-
have it on themselves, not next to themselves. That's why I was asking the question. Do they have furniture? Do they have a cat? Do they have a dog, a pet? or
There was
something?
artifacts. My point is that we don't know what these grave robbers are doing with this stuff anyway.
Oh, okay. Well,
Let's
still-
roll
we
this
know they're
deal-
selling it.
Well,
They're
yeah,
selling it.
Exactly. We do know what they're doing, but I mean, like where it's going exactly and what it was.
we do know that the metal artifacts are not on top of them, but embedded in them.
But there's also other metal artifacts that are suggested to have been found with them.
Really? On top
Yeah.
of them?
I don't know. What
Okay,
do you mean by on
that's
top of him?
like a necklace. Like I have a necklace on my.
There are
on my-
pictures with them with at least one body decorated in clothing and
But
necklace.
those were. You mean the ones that they dressed up, the fake ones?
no,
Peru?
not the doll.
The ones that they dressed up
But
like
I don't know.
Barbie?
I don't know. It could be a doll, but it's in the videos. You have to watch the videos of the supposed grave. Do you know anything about the videos, Todd?
Of the grave robbers.
That show like the dressed body I'm talking about? Have you
Not
seen
that one specifically. Not that one.
Yeah,
But I've
so
seen
I
videos
don't-
of all the holes in the desert.
Really?
Just all the holes.
Nice.
They're just digging holes out in the desert, and they're just uncovering graves, and they'll leave bones and take anything else they find.
They just take the gold, right? Usually.
Anything
But
anything they think is worth money.
I hope they're not melting that gold.
Probably. All right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's
Well,
the roll,
and-
guys.
Here we go. Good luck, everybody.
And what does it say? 65. All right.
65, everybody.
And now, so hopefully we have a wiener. We can go check our daily roll numbers some other time.
Who's our winner?
I don't know. Hold on.
Winner, chicken
Todd,
dinner.
Thank you so much for coming. I don't know if we can do this again. I feel like we've just hit the iceberg with you. Definitely.
Oh, there's more.
If we can, if we could definitely get together, I would probably feel a lot more comfortable accompanying someone who's already had the experience, right?
Yeah, knows where the good places are to eat and where
Oh,
the lodgings are.
What did you eat? Tell us.
Okay, so everywhere I stayed, it was like a 4-star restaurant. So it was super nice. I didn't, I was in a third world country. I didn't feel it though. And so the beef is great, chicken's great. All the flavors are
All
amazing,
natural.
and
All natural.
it is really good food there. Yeah, and I don't mind empanadas, but they also have high-end restaurants too. So, whether you're in Lima, Cusco, Urubamba, there's great places.
Yeah, none of
Great.
that preservative stuff.
Wow.
Really, I love going to places like that, man, because you're eating so healthy. You're actually detoxing.
What?
You're detoxing when you get out of there.
60 something. All right, who won?
Well, actually, it was East Coast production. It was Cody, and we already delivered his.
Cody, you won again, baby!
No,
Cody!
I have to roll again. It looks like so. Technically, there is no winner at this
There's
moment.
more than one person in East
All right.
Coast.
Well,
I'll
Ed,
let
I'll
you
let
guys
you bring
go
it
those-
home. I'm gonna
Yeah.
bail.
Todd,
Thank you so much again. Awesome.
Todd, you're the man. You're the man,
Hey,
Todd.
I'm gonna bring more next time. I'll bring more.
Yeah, I mean, if you could legally bring them, yeah, sure.
All right.
All right.
I'll legally
I'm
bring
gonna say
them.
goodbye, everybody. Thanks everyone for
We
watching.
need to talk. We
This
need
is-
to get my information, so we could
Okay.
communicate because we got to set up that trip.
There we go. Live long
All
and
right.
prosper, everybody. Thank you. That's
Live long
the end
and
of the
prosper.
stream. We'll see you next time.
That was awesome. I really
Awesome.
like Todd. That he is